Rocky is here once again. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure and honor to have you on the show. I mean, like, your status right now, I'm intrigued, by the fact that consistently you've been able to do this, and it doesn't even feel like you're doing it because you feel you need to be there, but you feel that your works are speaking for you. Before we get into that, I love the dreads.
Thank you very much.
I'm trying to leave mine so I get to Jamaica and let some battle and come back. But
Thank you.
How difficult or easy do you keep this now at this point or at this stage of your life?
Well, you mean in terms of the dress?
Yeah.
Well, everything is all about how you take care of it, So for me, sometimes you get lazy, but the important thing is that you have to constantly keep your hair like healthy by eating good food, taking vitamins and all of that kind of stuff. And then also, treating it, washing it consistently and all of that. So I feel that when you put that care, it kind of really also takes care of you to some extent, and I feel that also goes for everything in life,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
care you put it inside it, it also stays vibrant and relevant. Yeah.
Spiritually, does it really help in your journey?
Well, for me,
well?
having locks is a spiritual thing.
Okay.
Spiritual thing by I mean that it's a dedication to my cause.
Oh.
Even when you look at our culture, in Africa, the history. When you look at even our traditional priests back in the days, people grew their hairs long. Even in the Bible, the Levites who took care of the temple and stuff, they never shaved their hair, as a sign of their dedication. So in the modern context, and for me personally too, it's a sign of dedication to my work and my mission. And I feel also that every African, you have your natural hair. And your natural hair is all a matter of just letting your hair grow. Obviously you have to take care of yourself and all of that, but it's also the natural way we look if we let things go as they are, rather than, really being in the way of trying to control it to be a certain way, So it's just what personally connects me to myself and my mission.
Great.
Yeah.
I think I needed that education on that. Thanks for the enlightenment on that. But let's talk about, you never cease to let this whole thing take over everything that you've put into this. For you, every nominations from the Grammy is like my work put me there.
Yes.
So it's no big deal.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, the thing is that when you have a gift and you're born with a certain talent and you know that this is all you have, you have to put the sacrifice that is required for it to be successful, not only for yourself, but also to utilize that success too for social impact.
Yeah.
And also if global impact, depending on really what your vision is. So, from the onset, when I started as a musician here, I went through a lot of challenges, obviously playing an artist who wanted to fuse reggae music and traditional music and all of that. So I dealt with a lot of, growing pains of trying to get people to, producers and stuff to help me, and a lot of times the producers gave me good advice by saying that, if you want to do something that is outside the box, you have to put yourself in, you have to own your own space in order for others to come. If you build it, others will come, So I had a mindset of just hard work. And I also had a mindset of discovery.
Okay.
And I had a mindset too of never feeling let down whenever I went through challenges, because I knew that the challenges were an integral part of success. So I have to, every no for me was an opportunity to prove a yes. So it made me dedicate myself to the act of, first of all, trying to be the best I could as a musician, learning songwriting, when I started, I knew that I had the talent, but I knew that I had to also learn songwriting. So I started studying, like really big songwriters around the world. I will find their catalogs and stuff and learn and try to figure out how they were doing it. So I was learning songwriting. I was also pushing to get my live, my live performance thing going too. So, you'll be booked in certain shows, and even in the beginning, a lot of booking agencies didn't know where to put me, whether to put me in world category or reggae category. I wasn't reggae
you
enough.
To go through all of that.
I wasn't reggae enough for the reggae people. I wasn't world enough for the world people. So here I was.
And that was the discovery process you speak about.
This was all stuff that I was dealing with as a musician as I grew and my stature grew. So, I will, when I wasn't being booked for concerts, we started a club in Los Angeles called Afro Funky, which was me and a few partners, and we started using that to showcase African music.
Okay.
So within a few years, it became the hub of African music right in the heart of Los Angeles, and that's where I did my live concerts. So every time I release a new album or a new single, I'll do a concert. So all of a sudden, the media and all of that was coming there, not only local media, but global media. So my music then all of a sudden started being moving into the attention of booking agencies who were not only reggae, but so I started getting bookings in all of those until, my performance at the Hollywood Bowl with the likes of Stevie Wonder and all of, and then my music too started being programmed in American television and American TV, video games around the world. So the thing is that it has been a process. And a process too of years of dedication to work. So when somebody asks you a simple question of how did you get here?
A lot of people don't even acknowledge that when it comes to your case, because they think Rocky just got there.
So that's why it's very hard to give, because the thing is that success is not a pill that you take, that all of a sudden everything grows. It's a product of your emotional and creative investment. So you have to see it, have the long vision. And sometimes you might start off and then, success will just come right away because all the elements are there. But for many who are in there, it's almost like you have to manifest destiny. And to manifest destiny, it requires a plan, a team, a dedication, an ability to learn. Even if you have the best, God has gifted you with every talent, you have to know that talent can even get better if you are able to open yourself to learn, because a glass half full nothing can be added onto it. So for me, that has been what personally has worked for me. I don't know of what will work for others. So sometimes when I tell my personal stories and, even from the first time I was nominated, people were asking, and people were thinking, just like everything that, you go to some place and, it's like you go to some back door. I think that,
like that come out.
And I think that mindset too can be a problem, that when we think that when there's any kind of success, that means that you're not deserving of it, or it's a product of something that you have to do in the back to make that work. It's a mindset that we need to get out of. We deserve every success. We deserve everything that comes to us. But the thing is that success is also a product of years of preparation. Because when preparation meets opportunity,
that's when you realize success.
That's when you realize success. So I always try to say that, trust the process. Believe in the steps that you take. Embrace the low points. Because sometimes when you're in the high point and everybody is talking about it, you forgot the low point that swung you. Because before, like Sankofa, or to say if you have a sling, for you to make the sling go far, you got to pull it farther back. So you have to pull it farther back enough for it to go further. So for me, that is what I always tell people. And then another important thing too is to broaden your horizon by being inspired by what makes you as a person, because I feel like uniqueness sometimes plays an important role when the competition, the other places where you are, there are people with even much more resource and much more opportunity and much more structures than you you do. Some of us had to fight this as lone soldiers.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be in somebody's country, the system is not for you. So you have to figure out how to constantly become relevant so that you
just
are
to beat
also
the system.
Yeah, to be and then also to be accepted and to navigate yourself.
Yeah.
So your cultural identity and who you are and the music of your origins and the inspiration of your origins are those key things that can make you unique, and everybody gravitate towards you because what you bring is not what others bring, you know.
Great.
That's how I see things. Yeah.
In line with what you're talking about in terms of, you know, what you need to put into it just to make sure that you're able to be accepted in places where, you know, people don't even know you or know your music and all that.
Yeah.
I spoke with Harry Song of Nigerian origin about how Nigerians are able to do what they do to get to the global status and all that. He mentioned that Nigerians put a lot of sacrifices into what they do. They don't just sit down, they're always moving. Hasn't the Ghanaian musician done enough of this?
Which Ghanaian musician? I really cannot tell for Ghanaian musician. I can tell of my story.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I've seen, and I'll,
you know, the problem is that people ask me something about Ghanaian musicians, and then whenever you make a statement, they take the statement and twist it. The thing is, I can't speak for what other musicians are doing.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I mean, you've
what I do.
I'm sure you look
constant
back. I'm sure
work.
when you look back,
yes,
you see some other young ones who are also trying as much as possible to be out there.
Yes.
And I'm speaking from the Nigerian perspective of sacrifices. Yes. We make sacrifices.
You see,
we invest, we do that.
The difference is that when you look also that a country like Nigeria has had musical structures for a long time.
That's true.
You know, even from the times of Fela, Sonny Ade, and all of that, Nigeria had Polygram. All the international labels had Nigerian systems over there. And then also Nigeria also built a strong live scene. All the major artists from Fela and all of who built the stage for this whole Afrobeat, you know, it didn't just happen overnight. It was years of predecessors building it up. And every year there's like, it builds up. Nigeria has the numbers too. You know, an ecosystem that is supporting each other. Yeah. You go to, I remember, you know, being in Los Angeles and going to clubs that, you know, Nigerian shows. If you go, probably 80% of the audience will be people of Nigerian descent who will sell out the show. It's not the local Americans or this and who are helping sell out the shows. Is that they're patronizing, they're there to support their own. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of Nigerians too who are in high levels when it comes to the music industry, you know, like, you know, even when you look at from Spotify to, you know, all the major labels around, you have people at executive places who have also not forgotten in terms of using whatever their conduit to also help a scene that had already had a lot of prior investment and growth over years and years and years. You know, so the thing is that ours also we've had that growth, but at the same time too, our numbers are smaller, first of all. And I feel that we need more of a concerted, organized togetherness when it comes to a scene, working together to whatever is Ghanaian, whatever is of Ghanaian origin, we equally support it and push it. That's when we create an industry and a scene. You know, so the thing is that we don't have to get into a place where we just react. Oh, because Nigerians are being, what's it called? We have the talent here, we have the ability, we have everything. And even one important thing that everybody will agree with me is that even all the major sounds that have been, shall I say, magnified and internationalized by our Nigerian brothers had their origins and incubations from here. You know, but they have the ability to scale and the systems to scale. And then when you look, when there's one album that comes out, there is all the artists work together to push that album. The industry push it together, and we need to, if we want something that we want to take from and learn, this is it. We have to learn that aspect and integrate it into what we do. we have to program more Ghanaian artists in terms of stuff that is done here. We have to be proud of our scene. We have to be proud of our music. Outside of that, I will say that it is hard for us to think that success is a product of just waving a wand. You know, we have to put in the work, and the work means all of us working together. And then our media also not constantly trying to pit artists against each other. I've just been dealing with that issue recently. You know what I mean? You say one thing that is about, let's do better, then they say, let's do better because you are saying others are not doing better. You know, we are spending so much, shall I say, capital and time into divisive rhetoric instead of using it as a rhetoric of togetherness and having a clear way forward and working together. Because if we don't face the truth will expose us. You see, so sometimes I have to be frank like that. And then, you know, try like, if we want to go forward, let's build an ecosystem. Let's support what is Ghana. If it's programming music, let's support what is Ghana. Not split some part against the other part or only focus on one part because we feel in our mind that that's the only part that is going to be successful. Let's open it up. Let's, it is an opportunity for success. So let's do it together. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. If you just joined us here on the show, Rocky Dawuni is my guest, and we're talking about the Ghanaian music industry. And of course, he's looking forward to another Grammy event that eventually will end up becoming winners of it. Now, let's talk about that song. Your thought processes when putting that song together. Did you see it making impact, and beyond making the impact you expected that it will make, also getting into this recognition?
You know, my thought processes usually, first of all, are making a great song as best as I can. You see, after the last album was nominated, I started working on a new album. So the new album has, it's probably 60%, 70% completed.
Okay.
And it's something that's coming out next year. So I decided that I wanted to release a first single. But it's a single that will probably, a single and a few other singles before the album comes out. So this song was born out of my observations of what is going on around the world, because unless you live under a rock, you will know that right now with social media and also the COVID and change in the way people are being influenced outside of their geographic area. At first you had your boundaries. So every information that you were exposed to, that you reacted to, was your own boundary.
Limited to you.
But now you have systems that are being pushed by AI, artificial intelligence, outside, that are being programmed to also, first of all, harvest data from us through your click streams, learn about you, and then in doing so, also commodify who you are. But it's not controlled within your national boundaries. So we are in a time in the world where it's a gray area, and most of us are not prepared for it. Even our policymakers, sometimes if you don't know about it. We talk about digitization, but we don't even know that when we collect the data, what kind of data sovereignty policies are we putting together to protect our own data? Is our data being handled by, another entity that is not ours, who's going to go monetize that when people have not given their consent to? Or are we protecting it as something that it's our core, what's it called, core, shall I say, important treasure that we don't need to relinquish control to somebody? So all of these things are going on around the world. So it born out of me that we live in a time when we are being exposed to different deities. Because a musician, you have to look at things in the
different ways.
And the vision for that song was also in terms of that we are bowing down to foreign ideas, foreign information, foreign means of being ourselves. And all of these are being dictated through our click streams, through AI influence, through all of us going onto social media and not understanding who is piping the information to us, who is raising our children, who is influencing our youth. We don't have any kind of policy to even address those issues. So Never Bow Down is a song about rising up, standing up, being aware that whenever you go online and you read something, you have to question where it's coming from, who is coming from, what their intentions are. You know, even when we did this whole lockdown, all of a sudden everywhere in the world just followed and all of that kind of stuff. And now a lot of them who were economies that did not have a solid formal sector, now what they did was that they destroyed their own economy. So it was a self-inflicted, wound. Economic wound. And now most of them are going on their knees again to the people who said, shut your economy, shut your economies. You shut it down and then you destroyed your economy. But when you started, the economy was only based on a 70% informal sector. So you can't restart it because it's individual innovation that created that economy. So all of these things are stuff that we are jumping and accepting and not questioning. So Never Bow Down is about that we are in a time as Africans, because you know, something that we have to realize is that the whole world knows that beyond 2030, 2050, 1 out of 4 people in the world is African. It's going to be African. The whole world knows that the youth of Africa, if they are well equipped with the right knowledge base, the right ability and opportunity to utilize their resources, their natural resources, and the right education, they are going to determine the character and the direction of the world. And if we have a history of other powers constantly putting us down, slavery, you know, so we have to understand that this is even the time that we are big targets, because everybody sees that we are almost close to winning.
Yeah.
So, you know,
there's really a lot going on.
A lot going on. So this is the time that we need to mobilize ourselves. We need to have a course of action. We need to empower the youth. We need to organize the youth, because that's the resource. The human resource is the most important resource.
And
this song is about that. It's about waking up. Never bow down to foreign concepts and philosophies. Find your identity. Your identity is who you are.
I'm excited about this. I think the level of enlightenment and education in there is very deep. Our time will not permit us, but I want to find out, maybe finally before we go, do you have intentions of maybe lecturing in any of the universities or even political ambition?
Oh, every time, you know, you don't need to be in politics to speak about as a concerned citizen of your country.
But that's where it gives you a bigger spot. It gives you a bigger platform for you to be able to.
But you see, the thing is that the concept of any kind of leadership is that you have to be ready to serve.
Okay.
You see, so when you lose the core philosophy of leadership, and politics is all about, let me get there and, you know, satisfy my ego or be somewhere or people be heard, then you lose sight of what the importance is. You know, so for me, every citizen, we are in a democracy, has the right to articulate their sentiment about what is going on, because in the long run, every policy affects us. There's a Greek philosopher who said that, you know, if you sit on the sidewalk and not get involved and speak, in the long run, it's just, you know, the people that, you know,
make all the laws and everything and bring it back to you.
Exactly, because you have not contributed, you know. So my thing is that Ghanaians need to stand up and speak out for their future. Ghanaians need to not sit down and everything be formulated and, you know, demand better of your leadership, demand better of your MPs. You know, and sometimes when I even watch, I feel like it's almost like a show, you know, like even things are being taken lighted at a time when we need to have a concerted effort, mobilizing the youth, have a vision, have action plans, get on the ground, education, farming, take control of our land, clean our waters, organize our system so that we can be able to confront the people who now are designing a system which is not meant for our youth to come on top, but our youth to become consumers of
what they want to give
us. We need to rise up.
Great stuff, and many thanks to you for always sharing, your knowledge with us. It's always an incredible moment spending time with you. We really appreciate what you do for our music industry. We say congratulations once again. We're picking up that award. I mean, yes, we need that award back home. So no doubt about that. We've been nominated. The thing is that we'll go extra. We'll go extra, picking and bring it back home. But we wish you the very best of that as well. And thanks so much for spending time with us this morning. That's Rocky Dawuni. Spending time with us, and please go out there, support his music, support his craft. He's got music videos out there, he's got songs, he's got albums you can go ahead and also listen to and appreciate as well. We've got some more coming up around here on the show. Before we're still in the last lap, by the way, so we're going to be wrapping up very soon here on Prime Morning. It's a Friday. Stay with us.